my personal opinion is to purchase the car outright if you can. If you can't, then pay 50 to 75% off, hopefully the 75% as a down payment, and then have a very small loan. And then with that loan, you know, try and get the lowest interest rate you can, and then, you know, hopefully that'll be between $200 to $300 payment, and try to get the shortest term you can that you can budget, or even if you stretch the term, the payment is low, so that you can pay it, and hopefully you can get an open loan where you can pay it at any time. And then try to get a car that you can own for that you'd enjoy for a long time. That way, you know, you're not really like seeing the next one, you're like, oh, you know, I want that next one. All right, hey everyone, today I'm gonna run some errands in my Z06, and I thought to talk about an important topic that's going to do with car purchase. So let's get started. Whew. Now that doesn't get old. All right, so let's get this party started. Today, I want to talk about purchasing a car and how I went about it. Now, car prices have gone up a lot in the last couple of years, really. Before that, it was kind of, you know, you could get a deal at a dealerships. Now, that's not possible. There's a lot of markups involved. Everybody knows the stories. You know, people have been posting online. So I'm not here to talk about all that. I'm here to talk about what worked for me. And it might not work for you, but this is what worked for me when I purchased a car, or all my cars. Now, I'm just going to talk about my current two cars, which are my Lexus GX 460, the 2017 model, and my 2017 Corvette Z06, how I purchased them. So I'm going to make this video very short and simple. Hopefully it might help some of you if you agree with it. Some of you may not agree with it, and that's totally fine. It's just my opinion, my personal opinion on how I purchase cars. Okay, so I'll start with my STi, the one I had before, or the one before the last one I had. It was $42,000 with tax, I believe. I think it was, no, it was $44,000, I think, with tax. It was like 41 or something. It was a top of the line limited. It was a 2018 model. And with this particular STi, I just gonna tell you what I paid. I didn't want, so personally, I don't like large monthly payments, and large monthly payments to me, you know, it just devalues the car experience, in my opinion. It just makes it, I don't know, it just makes it not fun to own, because I'm constantly thinking about, oh, I've got this 400, 500, 600, 700 plus payment, and is it really worth that money? And oh, it's going to take me now, with loans stretching up, you know, 5, 6, 7 years, it's going to take me that long to actually own this. What if I get bored of this car? You know, does that mean I want to sell it? And if I sell it, I'm not going to get what I paid for, and now I have to roll negative equity into my next car, and then I'm not going to enjoy that car now because I rolled negative equity for my previous car, and my payment's higher than what the car is worth. And you know, it's just a negative cycle there. You're just like, or negative circle. You're just gonna go on and on and on, and you know, keep rolling negative equity, and keep, or at least, you know, this is my personal opinion, you know, keep rolling that negative equity, keep not enjoying the next car because you just keep changing cars. Yes, you know, there's an option of leasing, and I'll get to why I chose not to lease. For me, it's all about the ownership of a car, and I try to buy cars that I will keep for a long time. That way, you know, it's cheaper to own, because every time you change cars, there's always costs associated with, you know, dealership fees, taxes, and so forth. So back to my STi story. You know, it was $44,000 with tax out the door. I bought it brand new from a dealership in Northern California at that time. I didn't want any payment over $300. I just didn't want to do that. Sorry, not 300. Any payment over like 350, I think that's the mark I set. I gotta do a little pull here. Here we go. Woo! Manuals, man. C7 Z06 with a manual transmission. Just another plug for Save the Manuals. All right, where was I? Whew, that acceleration run. Yeah, so I mean, if you think about it, it's like, yeah, for me, the experience would have been just watered down with that high monthly payment. So I decided to put in, at that time, I decided to put minimum 50% of the out-the-door price as a down payment, because then I could get my payment down to, you know, to something below 350, hopefully below 300. So I put down $24,000, I believe. So that was half, exactly half of what, 50% of what I owed on the car. And I think the payment came to just in the low 300s maybe a month, something like that. I can't remember the exact amount. Could have been even cheaper, but let's just say 300, 350, it was in there. And it was fine. You know, I was happy with that. I enjoyed the car, and of course the car had some issues, so Subaru brought it back and gave me a 2020, which was worth more. So I, you know, thank God, I praise God, hallelujah for that. Thank you, Jesus. I saved a lot of money. I got a better car with more options. I got the OEM kit and everything in the 2020 STi, and for the same price I was paying on the 2018, so that was great. So I mean, to me that was great. Now I think the bar is set even higher. So fast forward to 2021, I believe, when I bought my Lexus GX 460. Before that I had an older Honda Pilot. So when I bought my Lexus GX 460, it was, you know, it was a really good deal, thank God. It had 29,000 miles on it, and it was I got him down to $36,000, which was to me a 20. So I bought it in 2021. It was just almost 4 years old at that point, or about 4 years old. $36,000 at that time was pretty good, because a lot of the 2017 models, especially mine was a premium, it was hovering on the 40 to 42,000, some even asking 45 in that range. The luxury was way more. So 36,000 to me was a really good deal. And of course by then I was already living in Southern California, so I bought it in a dealership west of Los Angeles, I think. Out the door was about $42,000. And then so I was okay with that. Now what I paid for this, I think I put over 20,000, 22, maybe 24,000, I think, into that. So I think the loan was for about 17K or something, and my monthly payment was about 260 something, which is really good. Now of course it's a lot less what I owe on it. I didn't want it to be a burden on me, so I saved up to, you know, just about 50 or just over 50% of what the car was worth, and got a loan on that. And the loan itself, I can't remember the percentage. I think it would have been 3.9, 4% maybe at that time. So something like that. It was not a bad loan. It was a pretty good rate for a used car at that time. So thank God I got a good deal on that, and it was yeah. So again, I put about 50% or more on that. And then fast forward to later that year, in 2021, I bought my Z06. So I sold my STi. At that time, it was pretty good. I had about 12,000 miles on it. You know, I had it modified and everything. Not heavily, just light mods. And I sold it for 40,000. I owed about 12 to 15, I think, on it. But the remaining 25 something ish thousand I put into the Z06, and then I put I think put another 40,000. So basically with the Z06 I put in, it was 81,000, almost 81,000 before taxes and fees, and with taxes and fees it was about $89,000. It was expensive, but then this was a really pristine, clean model. It had just over 10,000 miles on it. 2017, one owner, clean history, car history. It was great. Obviously no modifications or anything. So so it was yeah, so off the door was about 89,000, so almost 90 grand. So I had put in total with my STi and cash, I put in about $66,000. So $66,000, so that's about 75% of the car value. So my monthly payment is, I think, in the low 300s. And I plan to pay it off soon. So what I'm trying to say here is, I still feel like, you know, I enjoy the car. I'm not having an atrocious $500, $600, $700, $800, or maybe even $1,000 payment that it's like a mortgage. Then I'm like, you know, I can't really enjoy a car at that. And I understand everybody can't put that, and I'm blessed to put that. So, you know, that's wonderful. But so here's my advice for if you can put that much. I think today, with the car prices being really high, to get into that $200 to $300 monthly payment for a car, you know, 40, 50, 60, 70, in my case, almost 90 grand out the door. I put in $66,000. That's a lot of money. My advice is, you know, or how I would look at it is, if I wanted to buy a car, I would put in, at that time, before all the car prices went up, I would have put 50%. But now, I think I will put 75% of that car's value, because then my monthly payment is very small, or try to pay it off entirely. But if I can, I'll take a very small loan out. So 25% of the out the door value, not the car's value, out the door. That includes taxes and fees. And the reason I say that is because these days, you know, interest rates are high, is what I understand, on cars anyway. It was cheaper before. So to put that into perspective, you know, having a car that you can pay off, sure, you can stretch even this to 7 years, but at least the payment is low. Or you bring the term down into like 4 or 5 years or lesser, and then the payment's a little higher, but you'll own it sooner. So either of those are fine. But for me, I like to have a lower payment, and I'd stretch it out to like the longest term, and then just have an open loan where I can pay it off anytime. So say that, you know, I'm financing, you know, $15,000 left of the car, which was like, you know, $50, $60, $70, $80,000, and that $15,000 is going to be like $250 a month, maybe. I don't know about the current rates. If I stretch that out to 7 years, then then that's great. Then I can pay it off maybe in 3 years or 4 years. So that's kind of how I look at it. Have the shortest amount. My advice is, you know, I mean, this is my personal opinion, have the lowest amount of monthly cost. Oh, I gotta change lanes here. Have the lowest amount of monthly cost, and the shortest term that you can afford and budget. That way, you get into the car, you enjoy it, it's not that big of a payment, you're comfortable with the term, and then, you know, you're not having atrocious monthly payments, or you're not paying that atrocious monthly payment for like 7 years, which is, you know, you'd be bored of the car by then, maybe. I don't know. I would wait till I can save up that 75%, either by selling another car and using the equity from that car, or and combining that with cash, or saving it up all in cash and then paying it out, because that's just, you know, you'd own the car faster, you have a smaller loan and smaller payment. So that's just my quick take on what I think buying a car should be. Now, I did mention about leasing. I really don't think leasing is an option. For me personally, it's like renting a car. I have to constantly, you know, watch how I, you know, not that I don't take care of my cars. I take care of my cars all the time, but I'm just getting super nervous around it. It's not my car. I have to give it back in X number of years. I have to watch the mileage on it. I can't go over certain miles. I don't want those restrictions. So yes, the payment is lower, but I mean, if you save up for your car, save up for the down payment or to pay it off, you either won't have a payment or the payment will be small anyway. So and then another thing I want to say is, I choose cars that I want to keep for a long time. If I want to switch cars all the time, sure, maybe leasing might be an option then, because then you can always get into a new car. But to me, then that's like, I'm renting that car. Most cars, you know, it's a depreciating asset. So I would rather, I'd be like, well, I just wasted all this money, or I just spent it for an experience, and that's it. And maybe that's okay for some people, but for me, it's not okay, because I want to own it. I want to, woo, that doesn't get old. Oh, love the Z06. Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. Yeah, so leasing a car doesn't make much sense to me personally. I mean, if it's a business, then if it's a business vehicle, that's a different thing. I'm talking about personal vehicles, not business or commercial vehicles. Personal vehicles for personal use. I think this is the better option, really, to purchase a car and save up for it. Yeah, so leasing is not an option. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. My personal opinion is to purchase the car outright if you can. If you can't, then pay 50 to 75% off, hopefully the 75% as a down payment, and then have a very small loan. And then with that loan, you know, try and get the lowest interest rate you can, and then, you know, hopefully that'll be between $200 to $300 payment, and try to get the shortest term you can that you can budget, or even if you stretch the term, the payment is low, so then you can pay it, and hopefully you can get an open loan where you can pay it at any time. And then try to get a car that you can own for that you'd enjoy for a long time. That way, you know, you're not really like seeing the next one, you're like, oh, you know, I want that next one. I mean, things like that will happen all the time. Let me give you an example. So I try to purchase cars that I like and we'll settle with. When I bought my Lexus GX 460, I saw that, hey, I can upgrade it. I can lift it. I can put a lift kit, sorry, on it. I can put bigger tires. It looks aggressive. That engine is stated to last for 300, 400, 500,000 miles if you take care of it. It's a luxury off-roader. It's robust in off-road technology. It's safe. It's comfortable. Yeah, something that I want to own. Now, I didn't get things like, you know, the 2017 model didn't have the Apple CarPlay and stuff. I had to buy a Grom V-Line unit so I can get Apple CarPlay. Now, the 22 model came out with that, right? And I was tempted. I was like, oh man, this car has the cool, like the front triple LEDs. Mine only has a single LEDs, I think. And it has the new 10-inch Apple CarPlay that, you know, I didn't get. And the one I have is kind of laggy. Do I really want to upgrade this? And then I looked at it. I'm like, well, if I sell my GX, I can't really sell it for $45,000 like I could a couple of years ago, because now instead of 29,000 miles, I'm almost at 60,000, 59, whatever, 58, 59,000 now miles. So I could probably get about 35 for it, maybe high 30s if at a really, really good sale price. But I mean, I still have, like, you know, a small loan left on it, so I would have to put in about $30,000 of my own cash just to get a brand new 22 or 23 model. So for $30,000, what am I really getting extra? I would be getting Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and some of the cool front fascia LED lights and stuff, but everything else is the same truck. There's no difference. Then actually the leather and the gear shift and all actually degraded in quality a little bit. And then the 24 GX just came out, which looks great, and lots of cool technology, but again, newer vehicle. I want to see how it'll last in the long term. The ones that the Lexus GX 460 I have is tested and it's solid. So, you know, I bought a vehicle that I'll be happy with, even if the newer vehicle comes out, which it did in the Lexus GX 460's case. While I like them and I was tempted to buy it, I'm not tempted to sell mine and upgrade. It's just a waste of money. I probably will in the next 3 to 5 years. But then I would have had my Lexus GX 460 for 5 to 8 years, so got it long term. So, I mean, I want to keep my GX 460 for, you know, 3 to 500,000 miles. So I bought a car like that. Now, that's an SUV, but what about, you know, fun cars, like my sports cars? So I bought my Z06, knowing that I didn't want to purchase a C8. I have a video of that, why I didn't want to purchase a C8, but primarily I wanted a manual transmission, you know, fast car. And the Z06 is, you know, they don't make the C7 Corvette anymore. They don't make manual transmissions in Corvettes, at least at this time anymore, not with the C8 platform. So I thought, okay, this is a car that I can enjoy. Even if I see a C8 that's faster, it's an automatic, so I don't really want that. So I know I'm not going to be tempted to purchase it. Are there other sports cars that are there? Sure, but nothing that has piqued my interest to want me to sell my Z06, other than the C7 ZR1, which costs an insane $150,000 to $250,000. So, I mean, one day, God willing, I'd love to buy it, but that's about it. A manual one, but that's about it. So that's why I chose a car that every time I look at it, I'm like, wow, I love this car. I'm so blessed to have it. And it's worth the $89,000 after tax that I spent on it at that time, right? So it's something that I don't regret. And it's something that I'm totally excited to keep. So my personal opinion is, I like to apply the financial principles I just talked about the 75% down payment, 50 to 75% down payment, and then either pay it off or have that small loan. And then the other thing is, I like to purchase cars that I can keep for a long time and won't be tempted to buy something else whenever the next cool thing comes up, because the next cool thing will always come out, and then I don't want to roll negative equity. So I've done that in my past. I bought cars and sold them and rolled negative equity, and it was a mistake, and I thought to myself, I'd never do that again. I'll always buy a car that I keep for a while, and I can upgrade here and there. Like the Lexus GX 460, I can upgrade it with off-road things like lift kit and stuff like that. I retrofitted crawl control, multi-trans, like, so things like that. That was stock from the dealership. So with the Corvette Z06, I added the Corvette Jake performance filter. That's from Chevrolet. I added the Stage 3 aero kits. There was a piece from GM, but the rest were aftermarket. But you know, I tastefully modded certain things. I didn't want to mod this car. And here's another thing: I bought a warranty on it because I wanted to keep it stock. It's fast enough as it is. I didn't want to mod it, so I just want to enjoy this car. So these are the kind of things I look for. That way I'm not either tempted to buy a new car, or I'm not, either I'm not tempted to buy a new car, or I'm not paying like a crazy amount of money every month for a car that I'm now starting to not like anymore, or even though I like it, I just can't believe I'm paying that much of money. So yeah, that's just what worked for me, and that's how I buy my vehicles. So hopefully this video has been helpful for you. Have a wonderful, blessed day, and take care. Bye-bye.